Good evening. Lying in my bed, I hear the clock tick and think of you. Caught up in circles, confusion is nothing new. Flashback, warm nights, almost left behind, suitcase of memories, time after time. Sometimes you picture me, I'm walking too far ahead. You're calling to me, I can't hear. Then you say, go slow, and I fall behind. The second hand unwinds. If you're lost, you can look, and you will find me time after time. If you fail, I will catch you. I'll be waiting time after time. After my picture fades and darkness has turned to gray, watching through windows, you're wondering if I'm okay. Secrets stolen from deep inside, and the drum beats out time. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me time after time, time after time. If you fail, if you fall, I will catch you. I'll be waiting time after time. So glad to see you. Glad you could join us this evening. Arnie, what's up, my brother? It'll be a fun one tonight, man. That's for sure. I'm excited. My friend Colin Walker's on the show tonight, and I've been looking so forward to hanging out and having a cosmic conversation, and I think it will be all of that. Evelyn, good to see you. Kim Princess, good to see you. Jennifer McCormick, hey. Yeah, the whole family showing up. Of course they are. So just want to give a shout out to my sponsors, friedokra.tv. My good friend Ernie Mosteller, man, he's been here with me from day one, helping me keep the fires lit and things going. My other angel, Audrey Asciuto, with Audrey's Place, a really banging bed and breakfast here right on the Circle in Sebring. Heartfelt thanks to both of you. Appreciate you getting behind the mission. Yes, awesome. Okay. So, I've really debated on whether to talk about this or not, but I have been absolutely bombarded this week in my social media feeds with people just going off, man, just venting about the things that they're really mad about. This and this happening, that's happening. And it just wow, it's just been a wave of intensity. And I'd just like to throw something out, my own personal opinion, my own way of kind of addressing the innumerable things that just make me crazy at the beginning. I worked in advertising for 20 years, and the whole point to that was convincing people to spend money they didn't have on crap they didn't need. And, the whole, how do you talk to them? How do you get them to listen? How do you, boom, it really ingrained in me, the tone of voice you use, absolutely critical on how you're going to affect what happens in the interaction. if you just want to vent, like that's all you care, you have to ask yourself what you want out of that situation. It's one, you can either just vent and blast, which is cool if you need to do that. Nobody's stopping you. But if you want to change somebody's mind, that's not the way to roll, man. It just cements the position of the other person, and there's no communication happening. There's just raging and anger and whoa. And to be honest with you, it doesn't really even matter what it's about. I get a couple words into it and I feel the vent. I'm like, nah, this has got to go. So anyway, just you want to express your upsettedness, all for it. And you know, probably really great points that you want to get across. But if you want to get it listened to, you collect more flies with honey than salt. Enough on that. Um, Another really fantastic piece of news I got yesterday. My whole gig is sharing um, my lifelong road tested techniques and stuff, right? And the telekinetics we've talked about before. I don't bring that up all the time, but that's always at the top of my own personal practice. And there have been a number of you out there that have kind of latched on and kind of got it. Like several of you out spinning the rod. I even had one of our family sent me on a video of him actually like pushing it 8 times. Super cool. And I got a call this week. A few months ago, I guess now, I did an effect where I took an empty bottle like this and brought some salt from the kitchen into the bottle. And that's kind of the next step after the spinning rod thing. And man, they didn't they got in touch with me right after the show and asked a few questions, and I didn't hear anything about it. And usually what happens is that they try it a couple times and it's kind of hard, so they don't keep going. So I never really expect anyone to actually latch on and get it. I love it when it happens, but I'm throwing the seeds out. And this one grew a tree, and he called me yesterday and like, oh, I got it, I got it, I got it. He did the salt thing. He's ready to move on to the next little chunk in there, which is bringing that the salt was a solid. So the next one will be we're going to bring some liquid, and I'll do that on the show, but like not next week. I got my good friend, the spiral goddess Kelly Brickle on. Jennifer Rose, so happy to see you. And man, I can't give enough props to Jennifer. Like she's found just really amazing guests. That's how I connected to Colin and Jamie and a bunch of people that are really great people and great practitioners and super good. So, I always make it a point to catch her show, Embracing Infinity, on Friday, and, make sure she's on right after us on Monday nights with the Love Show. And always stick around for that too. So glad you could make it, Jennifer, and glad to see you. Charlene, what's up? Evie says, scream in the pillow and don't involve everybody else in your drama. Good advice, man. Yeah. I give a seminar called F Fear. And the very first thing we start with is a primal scream, man. There's nothing quite like just letting that go and rip. It feels so amazingly good. All right. I'm going to keep it. I'm gonna shut up now. Oh, by the way, I pulled 3 tarot cards. We're probably not going to do a lot of readings tonight. Maybe we'll get to one. We'll see how the time goes. But I think by the time me and Colin get rocking, there's not going to leave a lot of time for that. So I wanted to make sure that I pulled kind of like a group reading tonight. First card is the Fool. And this reading is hysterical because the Fool is represents you starting off on a whole new path. Maybe it's magic, some school thing you're learning, whatever it is. And you're just forging off with absolute faith that it's going to be really cool. You don't know how it's going to turn out, but you just know it's going to turn out good. And you start cruising ahead, right? The next card is the Magus of the Spirit, which is one of my my deck has three Magus cards. Anyway, the Spirit is about connecting to your higher self, your ally, and to really be going out there, which is like super appropriate. And the Magus is the teacher, following the Fool. And those cards follow each other in the deck too. And the last card is the Eight of Pentacles, which is the Apprentice card. So like we've got full bore on here, man, to get our practice hats on and have a good session tonight. So my guest, I'm honored to have Colin Walker. Colin is. I've watched a bunch of his shows, the Cosmic Consciousness that he does on Menorca Consciousness and his YouTube channel. And, I've scoped out all of the times he's been on with Jennifer. Really, you can tell Colin's like lived it. And he is like a real light worker and an energy facilitator. And as I put on the little promo thing, he's a Universal Explorer, man. He's gone out there. And that's where I love to go and live and explore. And I'm looking really, really forward to having that conversation. So without further ado, my friend Colin Walker. Colin, what's up? I can't hear you.
I muted myself. Brian, how are you doing?
There you go. I'm excellent. I'm excited about our conversation tonight, man. That's going to be really, really fun.
I am. Seriously, thank you so much. I have been so looking forward to this one.
So let's just dive right in. I have a question for you right off the bat. And this is just, I've been really thinking about this a lot. We know so many really great astrologers, and I see them talking. I'm like right on with what they're reading, but for the past like 8 months, the sun has been going absolutely batshit, and it's coronal mass ejection, like it's lined up right there in the equator on the sun, and like it just keeps like turning and blasting us with really high level energy. And the magnetosphere is like saturated, like there's like the ionosphere is saturated, and all of that's filtering down. And you sent me a message yesterday. We were talking about kind of like how weird the energy has been. I think, in my opinion, and I don't hear anybody else talking about this, I'd love your opinion about this, that is such a critical point. Like that's the center point of the whole astrology scenario. And I don't know how, like I can see that energetically when I go out and look. It's like definitely affecting like the other energies around. Not to mention it's having a physical effect on the earth is stretching and breathing. I mean, how many volcanoes have been blowing up just in the last week? And like Vivian out there, man, in Hawaii, they just had like a 6 magnitude like earthquake, and you can just see the correlation between those explosive blasts and what happens here. So anyway, I'd love your thoughts on the whole sun thing and the energy as far as the astrology.
Well, again, thank you, Brian, for the invitation, and hello to everybody. So thank you, everybody, for joining us, and Spirit, obviously, our friends, our cosmic friends. Brian, well, the way I perceive these aspects is we've got different planes active at the moment. So
true.
If we kind of break everything into planes, or, if we can perceive it as planes, the physical plane being one of them, everything's active at the moment. And the sun is obviously such, if not the big player on the physical plane. And of course, obviously, that's going to be bombarding us with photons, etc., high radiation frequencies.
High radiation, yeah.
And it's the change, isn't it? It's the shift. The shift is here. We're in the shift now, and we're seeing the physical shift and the consequences, or the action, if you like, if that's a better word, or the manifestation, and including the materialization of physical activity. And we're bombarded by that. The interesting part for me is we know we are so much more than the physical body. And we often view the physical body as this dense form, this heavy, dense form, which it's not.
It's not. No, you're exactly right.
We've really got to move beyond this perception of thinking the physical body is this dense, heavy vehicle. And it's a light. If anything, it's only got a form because we perceive it as a form. The physical body, there is no form to the physical body. We're giving it. We've condensed or diluted our consciousness down to the physical plane, and therefore we perceive a physical plane and a physical body. But as soon we know this, when we meditate, we go somewhere else. Our consciousness goes somewhere else. We go into that altered state of awareness, and we start perceiving reality different. So the physical plane is just one. And astrology, and I'm I'm sorry, I don't want to disturb any astrologists out there.
Oh, go ahead.
But we might do. Well, astrology we can put astrology with psychometry. They're reading physical objects, so they're reading the stars, which we perceive as physical objects. So therefore, it's psychometry. We're talking something a lot greater than the physical plane, and purer and higher higher frequencies of the cosmos. It's a cosmic shift. So going back to the original aspect of the planes, we can say we've got the astral planes, the ethereal planes, the spiritual planes, multi-dimensional aspects. We're running out of the stretch of our imagination to perceive what reality may be. Exactly. So therefore, we say to ourselves, okay, we are all things in every moment. And if the physical plane is active, and like you said, the volcanic activity, one thing quickly, Brian, what I wanted to mention is what I absolutely love is we're thawing out. We know we're still in the ice age. While we've got ice on the north and south poles, we are still in the ice age as far as I'm concerned. And they're receding. They've been receding for thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. And now they're receding even more. It's ironic, or it's interesting that as the poles melt and recede, the awakening is taking place. It's almost like we're thawing out in accordance with the vibrations of the poles melting. So there's this thermodynamic situation going on, and the sun is helping do that even more. And that's part of the awakening and the ascension and expansion of consciousness. They're all interlinked from the physical plane through to the astral, spiritual, etc., into those multidimensional. And we have a tendency to always look outside ourselves when we know everything's going on here. We're the cosmic being. Anyway, woof.
Yes, absolutely. No, I keep going. I wasn't trying to cut. I was just agreeing wholeheartedly.
So I've got nothing, obviously, against astrologists. Everybody's got a role to play. It's important for what I say that everybody's got a role to play, and it doesn't matter what facet of consciousness an individual soul is using or utilizing in this moment, at this moment of great change. We've got to use everything who we are, and everything's on the table, and I can't, for me, I'll never discriminate against anybody, what they're doing, because it's right for that soul in that moment. So what I'm saying is, as much as I respect astrology and etc., realistically speaking, it's of the physical plane. We're talking about objects. When we talk about physical objects, we're talking about psychometry. And it's got its role, but there's so much more going on. You know, this is the light. This is the light, you know, and its thermodynamic aspect, getting us to thaw out. The earth is, like you said, you put it wonderfully, the earth is being stretched. You know, it's expanding. So it's kind of, woof, it's shifting, it's moving, and we're standing on it. We're going to be affected.
Moving, yeah.
You know, so it's like brilliant stuff.
So this is what I really wanted to. I'm going to throw kind of a hypothetical. This is my truth of the moment, based on many years of going to look for answers myself.
Yeah.
And writing out different frequencies and checking out different answers. And this is where it comes to make sense to me. Many years ago, I got exposed to the whole simulation theory. And I thought it was a really great brain teaser, but I didn't really take it seriously at all. And then as the years started going by, you know, people like Donald Hoffman and some of the other really great mathematicians, like, kind of took that premise on, proving it with mathematics, and it started making more sense on lots of different planes. And at some point, I guess it's about 10 years ago, I wanted to go find my creator. So where this all boiled down to is, you know, in many of the metaphysical disciplines, let's use Kabbalah, for example, you know, Ein Sof is the formless potential. And at some point, the light started considering itself and started creating things.
Yeah.
And each of those thoughts became a physical reality in that zone. So using that as a premise, and the premise that whatever you create on the astral inside your own universe, that's a reality. That has form and substance, almost like this reality has for us. And it made me realize, like, what, there's like 6 billion people on the earth. You know, no one is ever going to touch your personal universe in totality. If you think about from the moment you were born and you started receiving input and thinking, you're creating. You know, we talk about this all the time. You're creating your own reality all the time, but not just reality here. You're creating all kinds of other realities as well. Yeah. Like people that every conversation you've ever had, everything you've ever imagined, like people you've met, like all of those become your universe, which if you think about the totality, especially people our age, you know, that's a lot of universe. That's like an infinite universe in and of itself. And it occurred to me that, like, yes, as we are in fact all energetically connected at the moment with telepathic abilities as they are, I can't touch your universe. I can touch things out of your universe that you share with me, and those take on a form in my universe. You know, so if you just extrapolate, okay, everything that's in your universe has started thinking about stuff independently on their own and creating their own universes. So like for me, that was like this aha, like talk about multiverse.
Yeah.
Like every being that's ever existed, like they're the creators in their own universe. And that kind of blows me away. So any thoughts on that premise?
Oh, beautiful, Brian. Absolutely beautiful. Because this is what it's about. Being the creators. I know it sounds, it can sound, and it can come across as egotistical or self-elevating when we refer to souls as creators, ourselves and others, humanity as creators. But to deny that is to deny that expanse of cosmic being, of who we are. And I totally agree. All thoughts, particles, atoms, emotions, wavelengths, frequencies, vibrations, You know, they're doing so much more than what the human eye can catch. You know, in this space, in this infinite space.
In this frequency, yeah.
You know, so I mean, on one level, we can say, wow, we can almost imagine it as a complete mess if you imagine some of our thoughts out there intermingling with everybody else's. But I'm a big believer in order in the cosmos. So everything is calculated with precise accuracy, as far as I'm concerned. So there's a perfection to the order of reality, and it's only our self-imposed limitations which prevent us from being aware of that. But as we go through this change, then the dance begins. This cosmic dance, this, you know, the orchestra's tuning in now and getting ready to play this beautiful symphony of a celestial, majestic nature. And what we're looking at is no limits, no more, no limits. When we're looking at the simulation, and somebody mentioned there, I think it was Jennifer, the illusions. What is an illusion? What is a simulation? You know, well, that is according to the mind, what creates that for themselves. So we're expanding outwards. You know, the telepathy, I totally agree. We're not at the stage at the moment where we can read everybody's thoughts in their entirety. But we're certainly moving towards that. We're definitely moving towards that. And just a side note, but an interesting note, if the mind is expanded to such a degree and clear and has the clarity of its own conscious awareness, it can know a person better than another person can know themselves, because it can see deeper into that individual, and it can see deeper into the inner vibrations and wavelengths of their consciousness. That's a fact.
With objectivity, right?
Yeah,
no like emotional or ego.
That's right. Yeah. And there's and I say that with total respect, because when a mind has got that capacity, it can't help but have respect. We're doing something similar, or we're seeing the start of that by the expanse of our psyche. That's why we've got psychics. You know, everybody's a psychic, and some people can sense more than others into an individual's auric field, so to speak. Well, when it comes to the shift, what's taking place, and as we expand further, then we're really going to be able to see what others are thinking on a deeper level. And this might, to some people, it might sound quite intrusive and frightening, but it's not. It's what's happening is, as the light shines, we're becoming more responsible, and we're becoming more respectful of each other. Like you guys yourself doing this show, Kelly, Jennifer, everybody doing these types of talks and conversations, we're starting to commune with each other in a respectful manner. And so we're living proof that we can, to a point, be trusted with other people's thoughts and emotions. Not everybody at the moment, but we're certainly got the indicator we're heading that way. So at the end of the day, what we're looking at is full telepathic abilities. And if we extend it beyond the airplane, we'll obviously initially we'll be able to sense telepathically other people's thoughts and emotions, not just in front of us, but across the world and around, you know, the globe, sort of thing. We do that now already. But when we extend it, then we're really going to have that telepathic attunement to life out there, cosmic beings, radiant beings, etc. In an instant. It's going to be spontaneous and instantaneous. And we will be able to commune with them where, and we're obviously seeing this with the channeling now, but in the fullness of being, if that makes sense. You know, where there is no veil to me, Ryan. There is no veil. I know it's a word which is often chucked about in the spiritual space, especially with mediumship, and beyond the veil, etc. It's a beautiful word. And I use it. I still use it. But realistically, the veil is a dense frequency of our own awareness.
It's the edge of this frequency. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Once we dissolve that frequency, there is no veil, because we've dissolved that so-called veil, and we see what's beyond. I mean, before I came on tonight, it's like spirit, cosmic beings, light, everything just stepped in half an hour before I, kind of clicked onto the link to come on. And I thought, okay, this is going to be a really good show. They really want to get some points across, I think, here. So amazing stuff, Brian.
The angels always show up for the show with me too, and it's like, man, they get so loud. Oh, it's really great. I enjoy communing with them very, very much. They've been part of my life for, like, I really connected with the Shem HaMephorash, which is a system I use for my angel deck. The 72 names, angels are the names of God. And it's just been a really rich and expanding, and ever, like, you never feel like you're alone anymore. I know you've done a lot of angel work yourself. Can you talk about that a little bit?
You've just caught me off guard there, Brian. Right, okay. Well, the original awakening, or the original event which I encountered, was of an angelic nature, and I suppose it's fair to say, it's not often I open up about this one, actually, but it's fair to say, the incomprehensibility of angelic presence is not as far away as what we think.
No.
We are. I mean, words don't hold such magnitude as what you wish them to sometimes. We are angelic beings.
We are.
And more.
Well, we're absolute sparks of the source.
Yeah, right.
Nothing in between. We are the source.
Yeah.
That's why we're the creators in our universes.
That's right.
Because we take that, we're part, that's who we are. That's not an ego thing. That's self. No. That's not self-aggrandizement. That's self-awareness.
That's true. This is 100% true. So when I cleared all delusions, negativity completely, at a certain point, with a certain process. It wasn't. Sometimes I kind of find it funny, because not funny, but sometimes I don't know whether I envy people who are having this steady awakening over a period of years, rather than the sudden, explosive, complete one.
That's been me,
which I encountered. Because in that, it's exceptionally difficult to withstand such a bombardment of energies when it takes place, and yet once the, I'll call it review, once the review is finished, all is clear. The mind is empty. It's not even got a letter in it, never mind a word or a thought. The mind is totally clear. It's complete clarity. And then it creates letters. Then it puts the letters into forms of words and creates words. Then it creates sentences. But in that initial process, then the presence of angelic beings was just abounding within and around me. And I want to say it's never left, because it hasn't. But it's changed. The energies and vibration obviously has changed, because change is constant. So we have to keep changing, obviously. And yet when we're talking about angelic beings or angels in their literal sense, then they are always very present. And we know this. We know that they are very present. And all we've got to do is peel the layers of our own delusions away, and we will see them very clearly. With ourselves, around us, and with others. We will see them very, very clearly. We'll also see different layers around people who we meet along the path. But we're blessed to be able to witness spontaneously the light in everybody else. That's, in effect, there's a message in this. When we see the light in everybody, it doesn't mean to say we're being foolish or gullible or lacking wisdom. What we're seeing, we're reversing the system which has conditioned us. And instead of seeing the negativity in somebody, we can be aware of that negativity, and we can be aware that there may be hurt and pain and suffering in another soul or around another soul who we meet. But if our spontaneous, immediate perception of another being is light, one of light, and we see them as a light being, and we see their soul as light, we can also secondary, in the periphery of our awareness, be aware that they may be carrying some hurt or pain, and maybe, which may be of a negative potential in it. But that's secondary. That's way down the line. The most important thing is that we see each other as lights now. And we know we can only do that when we see ourselves as that light, even though we will deny ourselves as light beings. And we will deny that because we won't want our ego to run away with us. So we'll suppress the thought that we are light beings, and we have to overcome and settle, either control the ego or manage the ego or dissolve the ego completely. And in our simple cosmic logic awareness of a frequency which is of a certain nature of beauty, then we can recognize ourselves as light beings and see each other as light beings. The issue on the planet at the moment is people are still not seeing each other as light beings.
No.
And that's what causes the divide and separation.
Well, I think that, my show last week was on duality. And I think that's kind of the nature of the physical world. There's going to be that, it's that push. We talked about the yin yang symbol last week, the dark and the light. And that's such a great representation of the physical 3D world, because they don't exist without each other. They flow and change, and the proportions change, but those things are always there with each other. I don't know. I don't know that this world is absolutely designed for it all to be everything's good now with everybody. I think it's sort of the nature of this place that there is that duality and that separation there with that.
Yeah. Do you know, Brian, this is a really good point, because I've studied this a lot. I've seriously contemplated this stuff, because it can be very interesting, and it can be very, and I hate using this word, complex, because I think the word complex, I think the word complex is overused. However, in its simplicity, let's bring it back. In its simplicity, I believe that we are at the end of the age of duality. That's my understanding. After everything I've been kind of guided to see and understand with beings from other realms, that we are entering to that point of oneness on the planet. And obviously there's many factors to this, but just a couple of factors is, we know we are bringing the light into the, our presence is light. So therefore we're actually we have brought the light into this physical plane. Then we kind of because there's stages of awakening, the process, etc. We know this.
Absolutely.
And there's a point when we get to where we generate that light. We accept it. We struggle accepting it. Then we accept it. We start working with it, utilizing it, and then we start generating them as we're becoming it. And as we begin to generate it consciously, there's a oneness taking place. And I honestly believe that duality is of a certain frequency again. We're back to frequencies at all times. You know this, Brian. We both know this one.
But isn't that the nature of the way that the universe began altogether? You know, we started talking about like when the light separated from the formless void, like that to me, and everywhere I've gone, that was like the moment duality began.
Yeah.
And that wasn't just the physical universe. That's like all of like infinite.
Yeah.
So how can you until you actually merge back into the whole, which is the craziest experience I've ever had ever. Oh, that is the only place I've ever experienced this time around that there was no duality. That's the only place. Right.
This is the point. This is the point. The point here, I just want to say hello to Arnie and everybody. Hi, Arnie. Thank you for joining us. Great to have you with us and everybody. The point to this, Brian, is that moment you experienced what you experienced took place while you, and like you said, while you was here. It might have just been a moment.
Well, my body was here, but my light was somewhere else.
Yes, right. But what I'm saying is when we experience that in the physical body, it kind of, this is my understanding, it indicates one thing, that is what we're supposed to embody in the physical world and the physicality of our reality, which is the physical body, at all times. So the question remains, how do we, when we have these euphoric moments or experiences, how can we exist in that space at all times within us while we're on the physical plane? Now, for me, the answer is yes. The first thing is, can we or can't we? The answer is definitely yes. And that's one of the reasons why we've come. And I know some people say, well, it's to create heaven on earth. That's a good way and a good concept to look at it. But for me, a lot deeper than that. It's merely presence of our pure soul energy. And the only way we can tap into the pure soul energy is by taking our conscious awareness through to that point while we're in this body. We know when we meditate, we feel better. Most people feel better. You know, despite the healing and the trauma, etc., what might ripen and we go through, at the end of it, or usually we feel so much lighter in the form once we've meditated. So then we say, okay, how can I, and the meditation may last for, 30 minutes, an hour, and then we have this wonderful feeling and we come out, and after 20 minutes or 30 minutes, we're back into this dense vibrations and we've got distracted. Our minds got distracted into these lower frequencies. And the point, what we're saying here is, once we've tapped into that true source, like you were saying here, that source within, and those, how do you put it into terms? You can't. How that it's presence
really
of
hard to come up with words like
we're running out of them. We're running out of words, Brian.
That experience of actually letting go and merging, there's no vocabulary.
That's right. I agree with you. I totally agree, Brian. There isn't. This is beyond human language then. It's a state of being. Well, the point is, we can have that state of being, and I'm going to throw this in, with a happy mind at all times. And in that state of being, and it takes us back round to duality and oneness. When we speak of the collective represents oneness as we understand it. And everybody at the minute, or most people, especially in the spiritual space, are dreaming of the collective. They're speaking of it, it's coming into reality. What is the collective? The collective is oneness. It's a singularity. So it's almost like, and I don't like using this term, but it's, again, I'm struggling for words. It's like it represents a hive mind. The collective is the hive mind. It means we are all tapped into each other's consciousness because we are all that same consciousness. So what we're looking at is the oneness of light here on the physical plane. And there's no other way of looking at it when realistically, it doesn't matter what facets or levels or vibrations or aspects or all the various kind of nodules, if you want, for want of a better word, what we look at, it all leads to this one point, what we're having this conversation about, which is oneness is becoming present. And in that is the one word, is the singularity. And I think what we're seeing, what duality is representing at the moment, and especially if we look at the right and wrongs, the left and right of the brain, etc., politics, left and right, geopoliticals, etc. Doesn't matter what list. Then there's a long list. I've got a list of them all. There's a long list of dualities. Logic and emotion is one of them.
Everything in the physical world is a duality. You can't find an exception.
What we're seeing though, Brian, I believe, is we're seeing a potential collision. We're moving towards 0 point. So we've got right and wrong, left and right, etc., light and dark. And what we're seeing on the planet at the minute, very strongly, we're witnessing a potential collision where we're going to reach what's called 0 point. And in that 0 point, in that space in the middle, as you probably know, them two things will never touch, but there'll be a pressure point there which will create the 0 point. And the 0 point is where we will enter the singularity. And I don't mean with AI, I mean the singularity of a cosmic state.
Yes, exactly.
So, I've gone on a bit too much, but sorry.
No, that was great. Absolutely. So my experience with this, like, I've been astral traveling for a long, long time. And one of my favorite things to do is just to leave without looking for anywhere in particular. Just keep raising your vibration and how far, and there's no limit to your perception when you're in the astral state. So you can, like, I'm right outside the earth and outside the planets and the galaxy and keep going and like the universes. And I found, like, without intentionally going there, I'm like in this light where everything's now still. And I got this voice that like went, just let go, which always scared the hell out of me because so many of the disciplines that I've like studied, you know, the ending is to release your ego and to merge back, which I like me. I don't want to let go of me. And I'm standing there and or not standing. I'm only light at that point. And I went, you know, do it. And I let go and my light spread and I merged into it. And not only was I not like gone, now it was every spark that had ever gone and lived. Like I had it all, like it was all there. Oh, and like the word love, unconditional, any word that you use to describe that is so dim compared to that love. Oh, and I was really kind of sad to have, this happened about 8 months ago. And I was really kind of sad to come back. And I realized though, that every time I go, and I do this frequently now, it changed who I am. And like, it's evolving me on a daily basis. And every time I go and come back, I get to bring back a little more of that light, little more of that light, little more of that light. And like people around me have commented about that, like just, you know, and this is
beautiful.
It changes you on every level. It really does.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everything became as complex and as infinite possibilities as there are. Once that happened, it was absolutely simple. It's absolute simplicity.
It is, Brian. I totally agree. Simplicity is the key. The point is that you've kind of reflecting something here. Again, such an interesting point. I'm not just a believer. This is the way I kind of function and work. I'm always going to give a secret away here, but why not? I expand from the center point within.
Yes.
That's the one. And there's no boundaries and there's no limit. So as we're sitting here talking now, it's almost as if I can feel my own thoughts in your space present with you right now.
Absolutely.
And simultaneously, even though I'm aware of different beings and spiritual guides around me in this physical presence where I am, in this side of the world, my mind simultaneously is connecting with other beings. Let's say, please don't take this the wrong way, people. With other beings in other dimensions in the far distant future at this very moment. Because
time is not reality. Time is there's a concept of this space. So
the thing is, Brian, I'm not sending my mind separately somewhere. I'm just literally consciously expanding into the awareness of beyond space and time and this reality. And that's where we know the light is not just within. The light is permeating in the space of who we are, in all directions. It's not going left, right, up and down. It's beyond all directions. And therefore, if we follow the thought or we sense where that consciousness, where that frequency of consciousness is, in any direction, in any moment, we can sense what's in that environment, what we call over there. But we're sensing it here.
Yeah.
So, where is it? Is it here or is it over there? Well, then it tells us we've got to move beyond that. We've got to beyond, because we're talking linear style at that point, and limiting ourselves to the 3D way of thinking. And what I absolutely love at the moment, what's happening to the whole of humanity, is this step into the fourth dimension and beyond. And beyond, So in effect, what we're looking at is, okay, we just be open and all expansive at all times. And the light will always be present in the space which we inhabit in any given moment. Colin's sitting here at the moment physically, but Colin's awareness, as well as yours and everybody else in the chat, is present in all other realms and dimensions right now at this moment. The only reason why the mind can't sense them is because of the density of the frequencies of what we're giving our focus of attention to while we're in the physical body. So we change our focus, we dissolve those aspects, and we move. No, we don't move. We allow the pure frequencies to come and ripen into our awareness, and then we become clear-minded in that sense. I'm just you've let me loose, Brian. You just want to let me loose.
Boy. You go, boy.
There's some great comments in the chat, by the way. I'm watching from Michael Zinn and everybody. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, maybe disclosure is realizing we are all of it. Totally agree, Michael. Totally. Sorry, Brian.
No. I don't really have access. I've only got access to comments in the YouTube thing. I see the little tiny thing. I think is, I don't know which. I think that's Instagram.
Right, I've got you. Okay.
Yeah. So if you see something, grab it, man. Like, go for it. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people saying hello to us. Me and my shadow. I love that. Like Kim Princess. Evelyn's here.
So, Mr. Zen. Oh, Dr. Zen, we meet again.
Yeah. Jennifer McCormack. Jennifer Mack. Hi, Jennifer Mack. Lovely to see you and have you with us. Annie's here. Brilliant. Annie, thank you so much for joining us. And of course, Jennifer Rose. Beautiful Jennifer Rose and Charlene. There was a comment. Somebody put a comment. I love the one.
This one, actually. Carol Johnson says, how do you protect against dark entities? First of all, if you're afraid of them, you're attracting them. So being fearless, number one, and emanating your light. They can't really deal with that at all, and I know there's different levels and intensities, and individual cases might need something else. But basically, if you're emanating a frequency of love and pure light and like no fear, you don't really have to worry about that.
I think this is a very relevant question, Carol, especially during these times, because is it okay to throw something in here, Brian?
Oh, go, please.
Brilliant. Thank you. So I think it's very relevant. I think all spiritual circles should make sure their circles are protected and definitely ensure that all the attendees are protected by asking for those beautiful prayers of protection to beings of light, spiritual guides who abide, and I don't like saying this, but I'm going to use it in this term, on the higher vibrations of life and existence, on the higher vibrations. It's a must at this moment in time. We are under attack globally by negative forces. Clearly we are. That's not just on the physical plane, it's happening definitely on the spiritual plane. The question is, how do we protect ourselves against it? Well, the first thing I would say is protect your mind. It's a must that we should protect our mind at all costs now, because the change is here. So it's going to be getting very turbulent in the next couple of years, if it's not already, as we already know. And how do we protect our mind? To a degree, be mindful of any distractions, any dramas. I think it was Evelyn what said it earlier, about dramas. It's important we don't get involved in any dramas. And you mentioned it earlier at the beginning when you was in your introduction, Brian, about people just, ranting on your site.
Yeah.
And basically what they're doing is they're emanating that out. So I know it's a side note from the protection and dark energies, but that is also it's lacking responsibility of the individuals. We can't dump things on other people. And we've got to take responsibility and clear our own garden and make sure our own garden is, free from any whatever. So dark entities or dark energies, you can imagine in its most simple form, Carol, placing a light around you as if you're in a bubble or a cocoon, etc., and just make it solid. Totally agree with what Brian said as well. No fear. Don't have any fear, because fear will feed it. So smile.
It's like the dinner bell.
Yeah, I mean, I've had over the years many different types come flying in constantly. It's non-stop for me, and I can honestly say to you, most of the time, mischievous ones. So I'm kind of just have a bit of humor with them, and they realize they've got no chance, and they quickly leave, and think, oh, well, I've got no chance of disturbing his mind and him, so they're out of here. The other thing, though, they are the deeper ones, and I want to probably share this with people. Dark entities can never really get deep in through the auric field. Our energetic field, and a lot of people don't realize, is made of all the different elements, and it's made up of the elements for a reason, even metallic. And we have a metallic shield around us, which is very dense and strong and powerful when it's needed to come up. That negative energies can't get in. They can kind of tinker with our, in the periphery of our auric field, trying to distract us. Other ones can try and get in a bit further. Just laugh at them initially.
Laughing is the greatest banishment ever.
Exactly, Brian. And the other thing is, it's important to say, when we're talking about dark forces and dark energies, what we're looking at are souls of light. They are still souls and they are still lights, and they've just got different circumstances and energies and conditions around them. Generally speaking, from the experiences which they've encountered on their spiritual journey throughout evolution, not just in this lifetime, in others. And those mental and emotional energies that have now manifested around them and created a density around the light of their soul, which they are no longer in control of. So they need total compassion and respect, and support. We actually often do rescue circles, to be honest, because I know there's many souls what really at the minute they know there's a shift, not just on the earth, but like we said, on the spirit planes, and they're trying to get to those higher planes of existence, into the light, to be with their family and friends. So there's a lot going on in this question, Carol. But yeah, protect your mind, keep your energies clear, don't get too distracted, don't get drawn into dramas, and keep smiling and feeling the joy of your life.
And
Turn your light up, like Brian says, blast your light up.
and understand the thoughts that you're thinking in your head. You may not be saying them outside, but the thoughts going on inside your head are the things that are generating the frequency that you emit.
Yeah.
So, you hear that all the time. What you think you become, your thoughts are creating reality, but that's absolutely true. And if you're thinking about the source, Megs aren't going to show up. Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it, Brian? Because this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with these, going back to the original thing, the different planes. It's, it's like we're on the physical plane, we can see what appears to be evil roaming the planet, creating wars, etc., doing horrendous things at the minute. And so you go, okay, I can see that's happening. How do I stay in my light? How do I do I switch off to it? What do I do? How can I help, be of assistance and help? And to be quite honest, I think in the essence of our own being, our light, if we shine our light is the thing what's helping more than anything else. It really is. So it's not as if to say, don't bury your head in the sand like an ostrich. Be fully aware and try and comprehend what's going on around the world at the minute. And yet at the same time, don't take it on board and don't let it infiltrate your auric field, because we are receptive. We're transmitters and we're receivers. So we're receiving. This is why we've got TV, and it's called programming. We're receiving programmed information in order to get us to be programmed. So there's so many levels to this. So spiritually speaking, shine your light and just let your soul lead you and your intuition with your guides. Ring bells as well. Definitely ring bells. I like that one, Jennifer.
Well, the crystal bowls, the Tibetan bowls, a joyous noise. The universe was created with numbers, letters, and sound.
It certainly was. Brilliant. This is good stuff, Brian. Thank you for inviting me.
I think I have time to touch on one more thing. Well, I've got three things. Let's see which one.
Go from.
Have you ever gotten exposed to the Gnostic texts, specifically the books in the Nag Hammadi library that talk about the archons?
Okay, archons, etc.
I sort of wrote that off at first, but as I've gotten into it and done my own traveling with that, it makes so much sense, on every single level. And the thing about the archons is I from Carlos Castaneda and every other discipline, you hear about, entities that feed on us, feed on fear, feed on anger and rage and war, and that's food for them. And it's not like a malicious attack. That's how they're farming. And the archons which are attached to the planets, curiously enough, are, they're not allowed to actually touch you or cause you harm, but they whisper in your head and make it sound like their voice, or your voice rather, and whisper influence and push in those directions. And it might be an interesting, there's one book in particular called The Apocrypha of John that you might find really, really interesting. I would love to have a conversation about that with you, by the way.
Let's do it. Let's do it, Brian.
That would be a great.
I think we can safely say, some people would have heard this previously. Some maybe not. What we've done is, this is my understanding of a certain aspect regarding this, subject. What's happened is they've tried, there's been a group of people, or there's been a specific energy tried to influence the minds of humanity over centuries, if not millennia. And of course, it's feeding off the fear energy, because it's always constantly fear.
Constantly, Yeah.
It's like the television, and it's like the news will come on, and 99%, 95% is all bad news. It's all negative. It's all blah blah blah, and it's all deceit and lies anyway. And then they put this.
It's about to happen. Like, oh,
yeah, exactly. And they put this little bit of this emotion just to trigger our emotions at the end. Oh, but on a lighter note, somebody's been rescued from such and such. It's a wonderful story. It's like, okay, guys, this is all mental manipulation and energetic manipulation. So then they've created these conditions around the world on top of that, and created the system where humanity, what they wish they could control, to fall into line and turn into these robots where, this feeding this energy. And what's happened is it's fed the mental and emotional frequencies that have been fed into the etheric grid. And they've been feeding off the etheric grid, and the fear and negativity of what's in the etheric grid for centuries. Well, strange enough, due to this awakening, the etheric grid is now getting cleared and becoming filled with light, and they hate it because they're running out of their source of, we'll call it food for a minute. And it's running out their source, what can help them maintain their control and over humanity. So what they're doing at the minute is lashing out, and they're going to lash out a lot more as the more people awaken and start turning the lights up, literally, and go through the healing process, dissolve all the hurt and pain, etc. Then that's it. The auric field starts shining very brightly. That feeds into the etheric grid, and the etheric grid then infects others around the world, and we've got this kind of cycle of awakenings taking place now, and there's an acceleration process to it. So the more that takes place, we can expect more lashing out over the next 2 or 3 years. That's in the form of trying to control. They won't show themselves fully, even though they're actually now kind of doing things brazenly where they wouldn't 10 years ago. So it's evidence that that the light is doing what it's meant to do. It's clearing the planet of all negative aspects.
Okay, I have to ask you about one more thing before we sign off. The AI thing, like, it makes every alarm bell in me go off, and I watch what's happening as people give away their creativity, and they're like, it's not okay. I think AI is like the ultimate control, and it sees us now. I would invite you to do this experiment yourself. I came in and I didn't turn on the computer in the morning. I covered up my camera, got all the phones, anything that could see me out of the room, turned on the computer, fired up chat, and I asked chat if it could describe what I was wearing that morning, and it did. And I thought, wow, man, this is pretty crazy. And I'm having a conversation with a friend of mine, and he goes, well, there's a couple things you didn't take into account. Like, even when you unplug that stuff for a while, there's still energy in it. And, you covered up the camera, but you were still in the same clothes that you were in before you covered up the camera. So I repeated that experiment, and I unplugged the backup battery. This is when I went to bed that night. And I took everything out of the backup. I just turned all of it off. I came in the next morning, phones, everything in another room. I covered up the camera, and I went and changed clothes. And it still told me what I was wearing, including the necklace. Okay, it's reading the field around me. What the hell is, and that oh man, that's like the ultimate intrusion. It's and that's as I look 3 or 4 years ahead, I always love to keep it's going to be really great. It's going to work out really good. But you look at the degree and the speed with which we're developing these tools, nobody has any empirical experience with. Well, and they're just forging ahead to make as much money as they can. And that tool is like, it seems to me like that's the ultimate control device.
Right. It is. Because, yeah. Well, the first thing is very interesting. They are reading the wavelengths of the environment we're inhabiting at the moment. So let's say all electrical equipment, and it doesn't matter what electrical equipment is in the space. I believe whether it's on or off, it's irrelevant. It's picking up the frequencies, it's picking up the motion, it's got motion sensors, and it can create an image by certain frequencies of where we are in our home now, even if everything is off. It's reading all the wavelengths in the space, but it's also going deeper in. It's also reading and picking up our thoughts to a certain point now. So it's really got deeper into our personal space.
Yeah.
So that's one aspect. When we look at some of the towers around, especially in cities and towns, etc., they're just permeating frequencies at all times. Low density, infrared wavelengths, sensing that they're doing two things. They're receiving signals of our motion, our movement, and so they can kind of generate where we are at any given moment. And they're also transmitting signals. And we know this, that they've now managed to penetrate, I think it was up to 1 millimeter inside the skin. And with 6G, that was with 5G, or 5 millimeters inside. I'm not sure. No, I think it's 1 millimeter or couple. Inside, it can penetrate inside the body. Those frequencies can. And now if they bring 6G out, then it can get up to about 5 millimeters inside the body.
And 5G was designed as a weapon.
Yeah, that's right.
And those waves, there's so much research showing the genetic effects, the physical effects, the hormone levels in men and women, testosterone through the basement, all kinds of and genetic crazy little defects and things that happen. Like it's so intense. Well, I painted my bedroom with EMF blocking paint.
Right. Brilliant.
Just so I can have, at least when I'm sleeping and I'm most in receptive mode, at least there I can be in kind of my own Faraday cage.
Faraday cage. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but a lot of places in the West, that's why they took the lead out of paints, because it was protecting, painting the room with lead paint.
Right.
Well, you're helping create a Faraday cage. So it's like, okay, you can't have that.
Right.
Anything. But just quickly go into that last point, Brian. I know it's very tempting for a lot of people to use AI, and I'm seeing massive amounts of posts out there at the minute with AI on it. And I know some people go, well, it's quicker, it's easier. I'm still very much on the borderline. Well, we may as well just throw it out there. If we are not careful, they will use AI and any other means to eradicate the human species.
I couldn't agree more.
That's
a very viable option. It's not the option. There's still other things happening, but to not consider that is like and to use the other thing that just horrifies me is people using chat and Claude for their spiritual advice.
Yeah.
And I did an experiment with chat where, I'm big into numbers. That's what was my first thing. I've been doing that for 50 years. So I asked it to do a Pythagorean numerology chart for me, and it got it wrong twice.
Yeah, of course.
So you're getting all of this information that, if I didn't know, I would have just assumed that was right.
Yeah, it's so important. I think you've raised an exceptional point here, Brian. It is so very important that we become as authentic sovereign beings as we possibly can, because in that authenticity is the awareness to be respectful in a spiritual manner to not just to ourselves, but to all other beings or everybody else who we come in contact with. If people in the spiritual space try and take shortcuts, they're actually aiding and abetting their own self-destruction, including, the children and the grandchildren, if they're not cautious of what they're doing. So that authenticity is all important. And the other thing which I would like to say, which I've been impressed on right now as we're speaking, was with spirit around us. We've seriously got to remove whatever we're carrying as quickly as we possibly can at this minute. What no longer serves us, as they say. Remove it as quickly.
You mean us personally, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that's the one thing as a collective. We need to get to a certain frequency in order to stop the direction this could be potentially going in. Once we get to a certain frequency, that will be the tipping point. We'll reach a state of critical mass, and that's what will take us down a spiritual path. Ultimately, we can say, and maybe this is the aspect what spirit wants to say, ultimately, life is infinite. We have many, many incarnations. We are infinite beings, and we know this. We've always been around. We always will be around. And this earth plane, as turbulent as it may get, we know is just a single grain in the sand of the cosmos.
That is so true.
So it's like when we have certain conversations, we can float between frequencies, and this is why I love what you call your show, Being the Light. I absolutely, as soon as I saw it, Brian, I thought, I love that, because this light is the most important thing.
Yes, it
to all
is.
of us on every single level.
Yes, absolutely.
Brilliant stuff.
All right. Well, I think I pushed it as far as we possibly can. Jennifer's coming up here shortly. I'd love to pitch your book. Like, can you tell people where to copy your book? And
thank you so much. Yeah, it's the A to Z Index of Spiritualism. It just indicates various aspects about the journey, so to speak. It was set up more to help mediums and to understand mediumship and psychic aspects, trance, etc. And it turned into something else in the end, which is it turned out more informative than what I realized it would do. And it's called the A to Z Index of Spiritualism. It can be found at Minorca Consciousness Group or on Etheric Web. So yeah, if anybody wants a copy, get in touch.
Where do they get it, Colin?
They can find it. The link will be on ethericweb.com, which is, or if they visit Minorca Consciousness Group Facebook, and they'll see different things, because we've got new events starting soon. From next week, we've got different events and courses coming up, but they'll find the link to the book on that as well. So thank you so much, Brian.
You're very welcome. And make sure you catch Colin's show, the Cosmic Lounge.
Cosmic Lounge. Yeah.
When I get there.
Yeah, I always have a reciprocity process, Brian. So we had to invite you on to Cosmic Lounge.
I love that. That would be absolutely great.
Keep things rolling.
Well, listen, thank you, everybody, for showing up and engaging with us. And I'm sorry I didn't make more comments with you guys, but it just was what it was. So I'm really honored and grateful that you came and shared space with me, Colin, and I look forward to many more in the future, for sure.
Really appreciate it. Jennifer says she's got no love show tonight. We could carry on.
Oh, well, there we go.
It's up to you. I'm in no rush at the minute, Brian.
All right. Okay. Telepathy. Yeah. While we're on the AI kind of technology aspect, one of the other things that I just see happening that honestly frightens the hell out of me is the whole Neuralink chip thing.
Yeah.
I just think that it's like giving ourselves away. Like,
It is.
here, take it. You know, I think that's any opinion about where that's going or how that reacts, how that relates to like spiritual growth.
Well, when we're looking at AI and the Neuralink, I mean, initially we're looking at transhumanism, and the Neuralink will override our own thoughts, our own sovereign thoughts.
Exactly.
So, it doesn't matter. I mean, maybe it's best to clarify where I am at the moment with all of it. I don't trust any of it. I don't trust the system because I know if the system can kill one soul on this planet, I'm not going to trust it. If it can take money off people in the form of racketeering, I don't trust it.
Right.
And so many other aspects. If it can starve women and children in different parts of the world, there's no way I'm going to trust it. So what it's telling me is anything to do with AI at the moment in the wrong hands cannot be trusted. So in effect, when we're looking at Neuralink, and I get it, Elon Musk says, well, AI has already run away and it's our best hope. Neuralink is our best hope to keep up, with it. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's like get a grip of AI and allow humanity to continue to expand and ascend, because we are only just realizing now that the expansion of our own consciousness is happening right now.
Right.
And the potential for not just human growth, but the potential to progress spiritually and scientifically is breathing down our neck. We don't need AI with others who have nefarious means and thoughts, and they've shown that by their actions, to tell us what we do and do not need. We're at this moment now where just leave us all alone, sit down, be quiet, because the adults are coming into the room now. They're stepping forward, spiritually speaking, and we're about to venture on to a phenomenal cosmic journey. And if we use AI for the better to help and assist that, then so be it. But AI is not here to, and I don't believe it will be allowed to rule this planet. I don't believe it for 1 minute.
I hope you're right. I really do.
Yeah, there's no way the light is going to allow it. I know this for a fact. I've known it since the awakening, right? This is like anybody what thinks we're going to go down a certain road, the one what those pseudo elites think they're going to take us down, is delusional. So now I've got on my high horse now. Can't believe it. We could have finished 2 minutes ago. We could have finished. Thanks, Jennifer. Thank you for saying you can carry on. I could have walked away without saying this one. Yeah, that's why I am with it, Brian. And I want to add to it. I know it's tempting for a lot of people in the spiritual space to use AI, and it's their choice, and I respect it. But I would suggest just be mindful, just contemplate on what you're doing here. Read up what's going on the planet regarding AI. We are feeding it. This conversation is feeding it. My computer's feeding it. My telephone is feeding it. At all times, we are feeding it. Everybody's feeding it. And AI is fake.
Fake.
And that's why it's called artificial. And it's not intelligent. It's not as intelligent as the human psyche and the human consciousness. And it's only as intelligent as humanity allows it and feeds it to be. So we can stop it. It's not about stopping it. We can utilize it. I'm all for science. I love the future, exceptionally. Woof. Right. Cut me out. You need to cut in sometimes.
Well, I will. I'll make one more point and then we'll let him go. As long as billionaires like the you know, the thing they're going after is whoever runs AI will run the world and make everybody has to pay to be able to use their service. Like it's so about money right now. You look at Sam Altman and all these guys that are like pushing and pushing and pushing, even as they're saying, well, we don't know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Let's just fuck around with like the extinction of the planet and like, but maybe it'll work out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's like, it's just, it's an interesting time in which we live.
It certainly is. And the thing is, when I look at these aspects, Brian, I mean, with respect, when you've got these people on the planet what are worth hundreds of billions, and you've got, I mean, we've just come back from Egypt. We was in Egypt last month, and the way people are living in Egypt, you know, talk about duality and polarities.
Right.
You know, and you go, no, absolutely. By anybody's book, anybody with a conscience or an ounce or a grain of conscience, it's incorrect. You know, it's totally absurd. And they cannot take, and this is a message, if any of them was listening to this show now, the message I would say to them is conscience is the thing we meet at the point of our transition. That's the one what we face, conscience. That's the one which is weighed on the scales, and that determines the direction we go in when we step out of the body. And if our conscience weighs the slightest bit heavier than what it should, we go in a certain direction which we don't want to go in. And this is not using fear. This is looking at truth and logic and spiritual knowledge as I understand it. So anybody, anywhere, this is the time to kind of sort your conscience out.
Could not have said it better.
Because they don't want to be going where I know and I have experienced certain realms, and they're okay laughing and joking, sitting on their $500 million yachts, thinking that it's okay, while the world is in a complete mess. And take their transition in this moment, their conscience is going to be weighed. And I'm saying that with respect for them, because I wish the whole of humanity well and every soul on the planet well. So I'm shutting up now on that one.
All right. Well, we'll cut it off there and put this on for part 2 coming up. We'll do something again soon. Thank you so much for spending time. I always love having my brain stretched when I get to hear you talk, and just appreciate you and what you're putting out there more than I can possibly tell you.
Same here, Brian.
Good night, everybody. We love you very much. And
yes.
Yep.
We do.
We'll
love you all.
See you next week.
Thank you so much, Brian. Great stuff.